Hey, I'm Gabor Gyukics from Hungary. It's pretty warm in here now. It's, what is it, August 8th, I think. It's 28, no, it's 32 Celsius, which is 90 Fahrenheit. And I'm here in front of you because I was honored by the Beat Foundation with this prize. And hey, it took me by surprise, and I'm very happy about it. So I figured I would read a few poems for you, for your pleasure. Read it with pleasure. Yeah, I'm not that funny at the time, most of the time. Anyways, I'm going to have to read it here because I don't know by any of my poems by heart, not like most of you American poets. I know many, I lived in the States for a long time, and my experience was that most Americans knew their poetry by heart. I envy those poets. I don't know my poems by heart. I'm lazy. So the very first one is creating your own music. The early troglodytes might have despised the shining of birds, especially the cawing of crows, to beguile the tedium of watching a blunt pointed angle. They chopped wood after wood to pieces, chased thousands of mantis and cockroach from the greens of their caves, tried avoiding to hear the footfall of ghosts by entering someone else's thoughts, parted the meadow covered with fiddlehead ferns, the surface of the long-beard path across the hills, which was shaded by roots of every tree they had known around the crevices of earth, emitting particles of previously inhaled fog of density when the thunders slept. They decorated long narrow sticks with tails heard from wild horses, carved violins out of split wood, glued the pieces together with resin, used the intestines of a fallen once hungry wolf for strings, lifted all to their shoulders, and began to play. Pardon my accent. There is hardly anyone here to practice, especially during this virus pandemic. Okay. The second poem, reverberation time after losing a lover. Solacing loneliness with smoking and drinking. Generous liqueurs quake hoping to get consumed unless their tightwad owner thinks otherwise. After coming home from the crib house where it always should be night, where in the dark he had found a uniquely treasonous, decimated thumbnail sketch. Yet, like most men living under same circumstances, he earned his share with the sweat of his brow, which is a more divine but less pleasing method than earning a living for not working for it. So a female substitute to his wife laughed at him for that, so in response he made what was a fatal mistake to do with any woman. He began to argue, stepping in the trap of a pool of light, waved his words at her that made a large shadow of the woman, and before he could finish his saying, he drowned inside her soul. Yeah. Okay. The third poem. So again, sorry about my mispronunciations. Hopefully, you can put it together. It's an Indian Time Misunderstood, the title of this poem, and I wrote this for Maurice Canny, the great Native American poet, for his memoir, White Daisies from the Side of the Road. When the water sprinkler is playing his flute on a 21st century tenement corner, where the sun heats up the brick, the rhythmical sound of ripe pears falling through the branches reach the ground, end up erupting inside your greedy fingers, bouncing on and off, pretending to be otherworldly plants in front of an underwater gaudy backdrop. there, then, and anywhere, anytime. Consider a muse on the prospects of names that might be nothing else but reference words when people are not present. For correlation, not the quailing causation in any of the mitigated incongruities in the vanishing spring, while every other day thousands of mantis deflorate billions of buffalo grass, grama, sage, chamiza, snakeweed. So now it's time to beat your copycatic movements. To beat your I don't know how to say this word. To beat your copacetic moments of erectile sequences and outrick the currently provided diaphanous life sentence in every pound, surrounded by fields laying beds of red poppies, to tie the conglomerate matter into something that belongs only to your disguised self. Among bunches of stinking nettles, trying to perform cunnilingus on an unevenly balanced, botanically active female meat-eater who wants to turn you over and gobble you after you finish getting rid of your camouflage. Wondering how will you end up, thinking of nothing particular, looking at the wounded mirror whose host will never again call anyone out in their names, to avoid falling out of its ready-made amalgamated framework of ground glass. Greedy fingers consider a muse on every reference word surrounded by fields of stinging nettles hurting nothing in particular. Whoa. There were some words in it that gave me a hard time. Hope you understand it anyways. I have two more. They're shorter. Volumetric analysis. The perfect pronunciation may seem unnatural in this ostensibly reprimanded, formless morning cavalcade, turning into a shapeless day of an awkward evening, lost in a mute doorframe, leading to a private cloud of a colorful sky, full with goshawks calling each other, pointing out the plummeting temperature in the surrounding cities where people live off the grid, due to introvert, blindsided authorities ostentatiously lurking around, protected by their frozen shells, without explicable reason that would make them taintless before the spirits and their invented gods with thin-lipped smiles. Yeah, I'm giving you a hard time, right? Bear with me, one more, then I'll go. And I wish you whatever you want to wish for yourself and for me. Shandig. I'm not even sure that's the right pronunciation. Shindig, but I know what it means. Harvesting his memory right after he was arrested without hearing the Miranda warning, his case was accelerated by two nocturnal detectives, ambling from sidewalk to sidewalk, luminescing nothing except their boredom and indifference towards the man they picked out of the crowd, believing he committed a crime they didn't know nothing about. Yet the man was different and thoughtful, which proved his guilt for them. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Thank you, Debbie. And thank you, everyone. And I hope I'll meet you one day in person. I'm ready to go to the States. You let me know when. All right. Take care.